Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here, coming at you with an XZs update, I guess, or an analysis of the XZs era now that it's happening. It's here, and I brought Rye in here because he said, "Hold me back, Circus. I got too much to say about it."
Also, Circus, I just got 50 gems for my special gift campaign. Make sure to do your special gift campaign, boys. But yes, XCs, hold me back. What is going on?
And right now, the games you see going on are part of the Underground Finals. This is their league finals, and it's live right now on Twitch.
Yeah,
It's too late for
there
you
you
to
go.
watch it because you'll probably be seeing this a day or two later. But that's what we're watching right now. Kamal is casting that. Looks like he's having a good time. So,
For sure, for
all
sure.
right, XZ's era. It launched with much to do, but there wasn't much to do with it, was there?
Yeah, so XCs, I was convinced that the first XCs box would be just astronomically good because we've been getting such crappy boxes up until its
Hmm.
release. And then Konami said, "Oh, by the way, we're releasing Karakuri, which is going to be like a really good deck for a long time." It hasn't been performing too great on the power rankings, but a lot of players still have faith in it. And even before, basically the ban list is what pretty much brought Karakuri down.
Hmm.
Even before that, it just felt like, okay, we're in a Karakuri meta. That's it. Like we're now in Karakuri. So the moment that happened, I was like, okay, they're about to butcher the first main box. And I was like, okay, well, at least the mini box, there's a good chance the mini box comes out and maybe has a good staple or two, just like Karma Cut was in a mini box. Was also pretty much kind of a disappointment when it went into it. So I guess starting with the first XC's box, Shining Hope. Um, like, I don't know, like, what do you think is the best XCs out of here, out of all of
Utopia,
these?
right? It's got to be
Utopia.
Utopia.
Yeah, I mean,
Samurai, right? Ga,
yeah,
samurai.
it's either that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's either Samurai or Utopia. I think I'd lean more towards, man, I don't know. I guess it depends. Like, Utopia is a more defensive card for decks in a more battle heavy meta, but
Hmm.
he's very poor in effect destruction metas or effect removal metas. But in metas that are very high, battle phase. So whenever heroes or or not Blackwing heroes, Blue Eyes, those decks are kind of around. That's when Utopia is going to shine, and Gaga Samurai is going to be more for OTK potential, and of course. You know, but like all these decks have weaknesses, right? Like Gaga Samurai, he has a cool little effect where he goes in defense mode and protects, your allies. But who cares if it's Purgatrio
Right.
that's coming in to ruin your day? Like that's bad.
I think both of
So
the cards are just really good auto duel cards.
yeah, and they're
I mean,
good
that's what
auto
it comes
duel
down to.
cards, and Fiendish Chain was in here, and DD Crow and all that. So it was just something to have while we got other things, but ultimately we were kind of waiting for more XCs at that
Well,
point.
I think we kind of expected that, though. I think
Yeah,
we predicted that because of the synchro launch. Remember,
yeah,
kind of the
and
same thing.
like anime, obviously that this is an anime-based game, so in terms of what's going to sell the most, it's going to be the anime cards. It's always, if it's not the
Right.
competitive cards, it's always the anime cards, and people want them in their glossy and their prismatic. I'm
Right.
sure someone out there that loves Zexal World is still farming for his prismatic Utopia. It happens.
Right.
So that was the point of the first box, and I'm willing to accept that.
But that
Um,
being said, Teller Knights, they're not
yeah,
being good competitively. You can get King of Games with them, but they're, I think, an example of what all the decks are that are starting to come out now is, yeah, they can get 3 level 4s onto the board, but where are you going, Rye? Where are you
yeah,
going?
and I think you hit it on the head right there. A lot of these decks windups. I mean, we've been seeing this crazy spore with what grows in the grave combo that's making like all these, that's just turboing out monsters, making Fortune Lady Every. But if Fortune Lady Every is your boss monster, why not just play Lightsworn? And it's so much easier to get there.
Right.
You don't lose as
It's
many
less work.
resources, and you have more back row and more, like, you're just gonna have more in general. It is insane to see these combos go off, but when they end on a Diamond Direwolf, for example, which is a good card, I will say right now,
Yeah.
the mini box that came out, Diamond Direwolf, and probably Corn. Those two
Black
are like
Ship of
the
Corn is
two.
the best card ever in Duel Links.
It's actually pretty good. It
It is.
it outstuns Saga really easily. The
And it fits
non-destruction
well
effect,
into an
it's
XYZ
amazing.
Arrow Mage stall deck. I'm just saying.
Oh no,
It's a
don't.
plant. It's a plant. It, you can use all
Is it
the
a
Arrow
plant?
Mage.
Oh my god, it is a
You can
plant.
use all your Arrow Mage cards on it.
How? Anyway, okay, I guess it's actual corn. It's not a ship. Anyway, um, so yeah, those are kind of the best two, but like that power level is still somewhat weak.
Hmm.
Where, you know, like competitively speaking, let's say the equivalent of Six Samurai Shien comes out for XCs, right? Like he's a rank 4. He comes out and he has negate spell trap once per turn, detach material. Like that will be insane for all these decks that can actually make that card, right? Teller Knights would
Right.
be insane all of a sudden because not only do they have the counter trap, but they also negate a spell trap on their turn as well.
Well, I
Um,
was talking with Herf about this point with XZs. They're different than synchros, where Xian can negate once per turn indefinitely throughout the battle or throughout the
mhm.
game. Whereas XZs, we don't have a lot of cards that add material back to the card. So you're
Right,
only
and I
doing it
do.
twice, maybe three times.
I think there's some XCs out there too that also have effects that are not related to
Hmm.
the detached. People can correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think I just kind of looking around, I've seen that around as well.
There's
And
one card I think in Heraldics where you can like put XZ's materials back onto the card or whatever,
yeah,
but
that's the other thing. A lot
there's
of
not
cool
a
ones
lot of
are
them.
having that. Yeah, yeah. You know, the only ones that I'm obviously Noble Knights. I know a lot about them. There's one I know where like you can, it's an equip you banish from the graveyard, and you get to XCs without using a single monster, and then attach that way. So that's
Right.
pretty cool. At the end of the day, so you know, once we start getting more of those rolling, I think that's because you do have a fair point. Once you're out of material, it's very, you know, there's nothing to
You
do.
have a vanilla beater. Yeah, you have a
Yeah,
vanilla beater.
which isn't that great. So, but you know,
Uh,
this is all kind of again, I don't think a single one of these XCs that was released was actually released after Alistair the Invoker, you know?
right.
These are all extremely old back when, you know, like if we had this around the time like right before, man, I don't even know how far back you'd have to go. Like right before Vindred support, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, like these cards would be insane, you know, like being able to get into these cards.
Right.
Like Dire Dolph would be insane, just like a popcorn would be insane. You'd actually be able to use the Zen mains and the
Right.
Ultimanity cards. You'd actually be able to use their effects and they wouldn't be slow. Um,
Well, what's great about
so
the Black Ship of Corn, and I'm going to sing its praises for a while, when you put it in your Arrowmage XYZ stall deck, which you should have, and if you don't, you should build, it's affected by all the Arrowmage cards. And what's great is Blessed Winds can send it to the grave, and then on your next turn, you can send it from your grave back to your extra deck and then resummon it. So that's a great little loop you can do with that card. So to me, it's a great card. I love Black Ship of Corn.
as long as the monster's under 2100,
Well,
it's
no,
it's
because
it's
the
really.
Arrow Mage boosting effect, the field spell
Oh
gets it to
yeah.
2600.
Oh my god, it's
Yeah, it's broken,
broken.
man. Black Ship of
Actually,
Corn.
actually broken for Arrow Mage. Let's
And you can do
go.
the field spell twice in one turn if you wanted, or three times, right? Because you can stack them, so you can get that thing up to like 26,
That is
31.
pretty funny. That is pretty funny. I think if any card makes it past this, it'll probably be the Diamond Direwolf, just as like
Yeah,
a quick pop.
because
Uh,
it can pop itself, right? Because
yeah,
you
pretty
don't have
much.
to have
Like you,
another one on the field. You pop it,
yeah,
and then the stuff
and
that's on the card
And
goes.
in reality, it could really be broken if potentially Konami releases a deck that can use those monsters from the graveyard as soon as they get sent there. So, for example, two level 4s, they make the dire wolf pops. Well, now you have a dire wolf and two monsters that have graveyard effects in the
Well, that's
graveyard.
heraldics do that
Ooh.
a little bit because depending on what you overlay them with, there are ones that were like you can banish one from your grave to put one back in your hand. They have
Mhm.
those effects. So heraldics are getting overlooked a little bit, I think,
So,
because they don't
Heraldics
they don't go into
actually,
anything. Because like I
yeah.
think the best thing about that deck is you can special summon three monsters on your turn without normal summoning a single
Mhm.
monster.
So
You
heraldics are
know.
actually interesting. We had a heraldic hit the top 32 on battle phase either Friday or Saturday. I don't remember
Mm-hmm.
which one it was. And they actually have some pretty crazy support. Number 18 specifically was if there are two or more monsters with the same name on the field, detach
Yes.
material, and you destroy them. I I don't know if we have the heraldic that changes its name to other monsters on the board yet. Someone was talking about in chat, but they apparently have that card. I don't know if it's in the game or if it's still to come. But if we
Well,
ever
there's
get
one
that
that where you
card,
do that and you like copy the effect.
yeah, so it has to be the name of the creature. So when we get that, or if we found a way to break that, that could be really cool. But ultimately, I guess talking about the new archetypes as well. You talk about it, heraldics. They did make top 32, but then they got demolished really
They're
easily.
not a good
Unfortunately,
archetype on their own
They're-
because they don't they you can get both their boss monsters out on one turn. Your first turn, you can get them
Yeah.
both out, but they don't do anything because they're an
And
anti-XZs archetype, and there's no one playing XZs.
exactly. And it's kind of like, man, all the Xyz monsters have such low attack points. Like they
Yes,
all have really low attack points, you know? And even
terrible.
like for example, Teller Knights, the Deltros should be their boss monster, but it's generic. It doesn't have to be their boss monster. It can be
Right.
anyone's boss monster. So it's not even like unique to them as well. Where Synchros, it really was, you know, like Shien, he is you need a Six Samurai Synchro, so he is the
The
boss monster.
right.
So that's really what XCs are missing, those scary, scary boss monsters that when they do go into them, you start running for the hills, you know, like, oh man, I've lost this duel. This guy just
Right.
summoned XYZ, you know, like um
They don't
that's
protect themselves very well either. So you bring out the Deltaros, and it's like, oh, it just got floodgated or whatever. It's like there's 4 cards I just spent, and now
yeah.
it's just
Well,
sitting
not
there.
Deltros, but yeah, because he can't be floodgated.
Oh, okay, sorry,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know what I
Any of the
mean.
other ones. Yeah, yeah. Any of
You
the
know
other
what I
ones. Yeah,
mean.
yeah.
He
Yeah,
can't be
yeah.
floodgated. That's nice. Why not? Does he just turn back up?
No, it's just his effect when you summon a Teller Knight, your opponent can't respond with card effects
Oh,
on their summon.
nice. But okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let's just use an example. Any other example? Just
Utopia.
Utopia. There you go. Then
You
you got
lose you
three
lose three
cards.
cards for that,
Yeah,
yeah.
or the reptile one, right? The reptile one from the card trader.
Oh
There's 4
god.
cards.
I see someone summon that now in battle phase. I was like, what are you
No,
doing?
really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Um
there you go. They don't really protect themselves very well. That's my whole point.
mhm.
Is like it's such a risk to bring them out, and there's no inherent way to take out their back row. Like the monsters you're using to summon them out, like Heraldics, you can do all these plays, but none of
Mhm.
those creature effects are popping back row or doing anything like that to prepare the field for the monster to
Yeah.
come out.
At this point, it's actually kind of interesting what Konami wants to do because if they go more the generic route and give us like really crazy good generic XCs, decks like windups, decks like Teller Knights are actually going to get kind of insane because if you went into all these decks and how they're currently being played and the boards that they're creating, if you replaced the final XC's monster with any other of the rank 4s that are currently in the TCG, you kind of start thinking like, holy crap, how do you out this in a
Right.
different scenario? So it's interesting because I always tell people that I prefer things to stay within their own archetypes. Like, for example, instead of having generic things like Kanadi or Floodgate, I much rather have generic spells like Dual Wield or Ritual Beast Ambush, very strong effects, but
Within the
only within
archetype.
their own archetypes, you know?
Yeah.
But XCs in general from TCG seems to have a more generic taste on things. Like a
Hmm.
lot of them are generic. Like when I saw Deltros, I was like, oh man, this card's crazy. And then I was like, wait a second, any deck can make this.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of wild when you really looked at it. And really, it seems like they're giving us a lot of generic ones, you know,
Hmm.
so I don't see them stopping anytime soon. That being said, eventually they're going to run out of bad XCs to give us,
Right.
right? And
They're
they're going
gonna
to have
have to give
to
us the good stuff. Give it up.
the tier 0 is coming. I
Right.
just don't know when.
They're gonna hold
Because,
off as long as they can. They're just gonna keep baiting us and baiting us and baiting us, you
yeah.
know?
And if I had to guess who's going to come out on top from what we have right now between windups, Teller Knights, Bujins, I think I think windups have kind of the best shot at it.
I'm gonna throw it out there. Heraldics are gonna be pretty good too. I don't know.
Heraldics, maybe.
They can
Maybe they'll
summon
be
a
good.
lot. They can just summon a lot. That's the thing.
Maybe they'll be like a good counter XCs deck, you know? Like you
Right.
know how when Shien was tier 0 for a while, everyone started playing the heavy burn with,
Right.
with the what's his name? Cypher Soldier? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
You end up getting Heraldics anti-XCs.
Well, I'm just really impressed with the mechanic that you can summon 2 XZs on one turn without
Mhm.
even normal summoning. I mean, you can
It
just
is pretty
keep bringing
crazy. That
guys
is pretty
out
wild.
onto the field just repeatedly, and if they have stuff that they can go into, they'd be really dangerous. But
Mhm.
they just have nowhere to go. And I think that's the theme of this video is XZs. Yeah, it's great. We see a lot of potential. It's just not there yet.
I think too the Heraldics, don't they have a card that works kind of like the Crystron Citri where you tribute summon and then immediately XCs too?
Yeah, it's
So
a spell.
your
Yeah.
opponent can't even do anything?
Well, you bring them out of the grave. You select 2 in the grave. You bring them out and
Okay, okay.
immediately summon with them. And that one's a generic summon. The problem with their other card is you tribute a monster and then you can special summon out, but it has to be into a psychic type
Oh yeah, I saw
XZ's
that one too.
monster,
Yeah.
so it's very specific. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm gonna, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed because I was one of the people that thought, okay, they're giving us things like megaliths and
hmm
nerfed Witchcrafter. They released Witchcrafter, immediately nerfed it because it's like, what's Konami's mindset coming into this? Did you want to just release garbage filler packs until XCs come out and then blow us away with XCs, or like what was the game plan here? Because they're still continuing this trend of very weak power-ups. Like, yeah, like we got some nice stuff, and I'm not going to say like any of these boxes are, the mini box is definitely worth going through once to get your generic XCs.
right.
And, Shining Hope was definitely worth going 2 to 3 times just for Fiendish Chain, for DD Crow. And, it's still nice if you get Utopia, if you get Deltros, those are still nice that you could put them in. But those cards are immediately going to be replaced the moment, that very powerful whatever the first XC's monster that comes out that needs to be hit on the limit list, it's going to replace all those XCs.
Right.
So,
Exactly. Yeah, so you're
you
gonna
know,
have a big card pool of XZ's monsters that you're never gonna use. You're gonna have a bunch of gigantic castles basically
and
laying
that's and
around.
that's what I'm afraid of. Like I'm afraid like a lot of people are going to look back and say, "Wow, I wasted so much money, so much resources, so much time." And in reality, they didn't, because like these cards are giving those incremental advantages in tournament
Right.
play. But the moment that big guy comes out, the big boss, the Purgatrio of this meta, everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, I could have just gone for this instead."
Well, that's what people want though. Every time a box comes out, they want Shien. They want
Yeah, they
Shien
want Shia.
every single box. So
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting. When do you think we're gonna get the first big boy?
next year,
You think so? Next year?
yeah, they're gonna wait till everybody gets their Christmas money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
Everybody gets their
Christmas one.
Christmas money, and then in January we hit it hard.
Here's my hot take. Quote me, YouTube
Okay,
comments.
all right.
Quote me. Before KC Cup, which is
Oh,
November 11th.
yeah.
Listen, guys, I don't own a hat, so
We'll have to get you. We might have to get you one.
before Thanksgiving, or before KC Cup, Thanksgiving KC Cup, there will be a main box, and from that main box, a new deck will come out that will be top 3 power rankings.
Oh my God.
Quote me.
Rye versus Circus coming up soon, folks.
Oh God.
I'd like to see it. Honestly, I'd love to see it. It seems a little soon, I feel. I feel
Maybe.
it might be a little soon, but we'll see. You never know. You never know.
If it's not before, it'll be after Casey.
I say New Year, but we'll see. I
All
think
right,
they're
all
gonna
right.
milk this one for as long as they can.
Yeah. Well, again, when it's hyped, anime cards make the most money, so it makes
Well,
sense.
honestly, where are we going after XZs? Everybody's like, Pendulum's too broken for the game. Unless they redesign
Yeah.
the
Well,
game
I
engine.
I think it was leaked that we're getting a KCGT world, which is just another
What's that?
filler world. It's basically another Dark Side Dimensions, but
Okay.
something is
Well, I
different.
mean, what summoning mechanic would be after this? Some
Oh
people
yeah,
say Link,
yeah.
some people say Pendulum. There'd
It'll
be
be
have to be
interesting.
major changes to the game engine. I don't
Yeah,
know. We're probably at least 2 years into this format. We'll have to do
yeah,
2 years in this format, so they're not in a hurry. That's why I
yeah.
think
They're
it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I would like for them to jump into links and skip pendulums, just because I think it wouldn't work in this format. But if they do end up adding pendulums, like I wouldn't be against it. I'd be like, all right. I just don't think it'll
Right.
work. I don't think it's gonna be good, but okay.
Right. So I don't know. I think they're going to take their time with this because we're not in a hurry and people are buying whatever we put out anyways. So
Yeah, no reason to.
there's no reason to try to bait people with like, here's the next tier 0 box. There's no reason to do it.
It's the synchro meta after all.
That's right. XZs are out. Synchros rise. All right, guys. We're going to get out of here. I hope you liked the video. We always enjoy doing them. But what you should do is get in our Discord because that's where we host our tournaments. It's free to get in the Discord. It's free to play in our tournaments until they fill up. And then if you're a sub to our Twitch channel, you get in regardless. Guaranteed entry to 24 tournaments, 22 of which are hosted by Rye. So make sure to get in there and watch
Yep.
those. And then make sure to check out the new player channel. If you're new to the game, you can get your help in there. We love to answer your questions.
Yeah,
So
we've had a huge influx of new people, so welcome new people. And we have a lot of people that we give the title of helper to, so that anyone can assist you in
yep.
that Discord.
All right, so make sure to check that out. We're gonna get out of here. I'm Circus. That's Rye.
Farewell.
See ya.
Remember, quote me.
Quote. Yep. We'll see what happens. Get a hat. See ya.